startup. So good morning once again. So welcome everyone to today's live webinar, and very excited to present before you the topic Generative AI and Oracle Digital Assistant. So this is an introductory session for those who are new to the topic. And if you could just, post in the Q&A or wherever it is allowing you to enter your response. Are you all new to Oracle Digital Assistant, or do you have any previous experience with this area? I can see that for many, it is definitely a new area, and I'm really delighted to take you all through the basics of it, and also we'll get to understand from a development point of view the building blocks, which gives Oracle Digital Assistant all its capabilities, and also we'll see the bot in action. So that's the whole agenda. So before we go in, a quick introduction about Ritman Mead. So for those who are yet to experience Ritman Mead, we're a globally recognized Oracle data and analytics consultancy, also Oracle partners and being thought leaders in the industry for over 16 years. And our major expertise areas are data engineering and enterprise analytics, data science. So that's about us. And with respect to agenda, kept it very simple so that we get chance to dive into the topic and also see a lot of examples and get a feel of the end-to-end cycle of development as well. So we'll first quickly go into an overview, a deep dive into the concepts, and we'll get an experience and familiarity on the development environment, see some examples, and we'll discuss about the key features, and then we'll open the forum for any questions that you may have. So starting with Q&A, overview. So here we have, So the Gen AI revolution, and I think we're all in an age where we see tremendous innovations around, and generative AI has literally created a revolution in the tech industry since around a year when OpenAI's ChatGPT started weaving its magic, isn't it? So the major areas, as you can see on the slide, where Gen AI has highest potential to bring exponential growth are majorly in automation, research, innovation of different sorts, decision making. Also, if you want to get actionable insights, using AI technology, that's also a great possibility. And also, there are a lot of areas wherein AI is being used, or Gen AI is being used for information gathering. Now, why should you adopt Gen AI? So if your business or your organization is looking for getting a competitive edge and aiming for greater growth, innovation, efficiency, and increasing your productivity, so Gen AI is definitely going to help you to get there. An interesting study report by Bloomberg Intelligence, it uncovers that Gen AI market is all set to explode. So it started from a market size of just about $40 billion in 2022. And in the next 10 years, it is expected to grow to over $1.3 trillion. So that is how huge the market potential is for Gen AI and its application. And so how does Oracle Digital Assistant come into picture? So let's see what an Oracle Digital Assistant is. So it's basically, you may have already guessed, it's kind of a bot, and which you keep encountering in most of the business applications that you access nowadays, wherein you'll be able to interact with the chatbot, as you normally call it, and you'll be able to ask your question, get answers, perform certain actions, or even understand or make some decisions based on some of the information that you understand from the conversation. So it's basically a concierge bot that combines different chatbots or skills into a complete unified experience. So a digital assistant basically integrates and coordinates the functionalities of multiple chatbots. So chatbots and digital assistants are actually two different concepts. You'll get more understanding of it as we proceed. So in Oracle Digital Assistant world, we refer to the individual chatbots as skills, and they offer more comprehensive and seamless experience to users altogether holistically. And it's also a low-code development environment with a conversational AI platform inbuilt, which allows the business to build and deploy AI assistants. And basically, why we go for it is to drive efficiency and productivity. And it's immense growth that you can see when you actually use ODA integrated into your business application for automation, because efficiency growth is almost 38% and productivity of almost 36 to 40% you can definitely get if you are adopting ODA. And so ODA, as we call it for Oracle Digital Assistant, it's an updated version of what was originally known as Oracle Intelligent Bots. It's been relaunched as Oracle Digital Assistant in late 2018, wherein the ability to link end users to multiple bots came into picture. So Oracle has incorporated AI into ODA platform to provide natural language processing capabilities, which enable the end users to engage with conversational interfaces. So with this ability integrated, the developers can actually build Oracle bots that are able to understand context and able to derive what action or intent of the user is and proactively automate all the routine tasks, so increasing the productivity. Now, I earlier mentioned about chatbot and digital assistant being two different terms. So a quick understanding, let's develop here, what exact differences we're talking about between both. So chatbots mostly take care of single purposes, whereas a digital assistant takes care of multiple purposes and can integrate the different bots into its platform or into it, on a whole, and will be easily able to switch from one functionality or one task to the other intelligently. And when it comes to chatbot, it is primarily user initiated, whereas digital assistants are bot initiated. And so digital assistant also has the additional capability to not just understand conversations as it happens with chatbots, but also to predict and recommend to the user based on the user's experience with the bot so far, with the digital assistant so far. So what happens with this is that our digital assistant has the capability to complete tasks which are beyond simple conversation. So chatbots are pretty much limited to simulating conversation with human users, completing a very specific task. So anything you ask beyond that, probably you might have seen many of the chatbots in different web pages or web applications wherein they say, sorry, I can't understand that. And you might just get frustrated that, if only you could connect us to an agent, a live agent, isn't it? So digital assistant is more intelligent in that way and is really the go-to solution in the current market for the business use cases that we have. So the power behind, I'm sorry, okay, so it's keeping on jumping to the previous slide. Sorry about that. So the power behind the whole platform is definitely artificial intelligence. And when you talk about artificial intelligence, it could be related to any technique that enables computers to mimic human intelligence using logic or say if-then rules or decision trees. So it actually comprises of multiple layers within it, and machine learning and deep learning also is a part of artificial intelligence if you look at it on the whole. So machine learning is a subset of AI, which includes statistical techniques which enable machines to learn and improve at tasks with experience. And machine learning is an AI capability which can make predictions with minimal human intervention. And when it comes to deep learning, that's again another subset of machine learning, which is composed of algorithms which permit the software to train itself to perform tasks like, say, speech and image recognition, exposing multi-layered neural networks to vast amounts of data. Now, the users it primarily uses neural networks to make decisions by mimicking the neural and cognitive process of the human mind. So that's the basic principle behind a deep learning, which it uses. Now, some of the very common use cases that you all, I'm sure, would be familiar with is the object detection, receipts, extractions, natural language processing is another application of AI power, and then face recognition. And we also have in the current world self-driving cars and search engines, which make use of all these concepts. And definitely, together with AI, ML, deep learning, it definitely holds a potential to transform the world. So natural language processing. So we're more getting insight deeper into the concepts which are primarily the power behind Oracle Digital Assistant, and natural language processing models are the backbone of it. So let's try to understand a little more clearly what natural language processing does and how it actually is playing a big role with ODA. So NLP algorithms are designed to analyze large amounts of textual or vocal data. So basically what it does is it recognizes patterns, extracts meaningful insights, and the main advantage is that it has a capability to mimic the way humans process language. So NLP technologies can automatically classify documents or identify sentiments and generate summaries, and also engage in conversation with humans through the digital assistants or chatbots. So this is kind of giving the edge of for the digital assistants to make use of the NLP models to give a user a seamless conversational experience. So this actually brings us to the concept of conversation AI. And conversation AI is coming into picture when we apply AI in a conversational interaction with a human. And this is a rapidly growing subset of AI, which enables the users to interact with machines using natural language. And to achieve this, as we saw earlier, the conversational AI uses the subdomains of AI, which is natural language processing, ML, and deep learning. So time for a deep dive. So at this point, I'm trying to take you through some of the examples to understand natural language processing, how exactly it works. So if you look at this particular sentence, I love my dog. So what happens is that in the context of NLP, the words in a sentence is actually encoded into numerical representations. So an example representation here given for the 4 words that we have in the sentence is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the numerical representation for this sentence means. If at all we make a change to the last word and the next sentence fed into the system as I love my cat, you can see how exactly, where exactly the change is coming into picture, which, in the context of NLP, it will be used to identify the words or, by the models. So one more example, if you look at, so before that, basically what we're doing here is it's called the process of tokenization, which is breaking down a text into smaller units or tokens or subwords, as we can call it. It splits each sentence into its constituent words and removes any punctuation or non-word characters. And the resulting output will be a list of tokens, as you can see it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 1, 2, 3, 5, they're a list of tokens, and each element corresponds to a word in the original sentence. Now, the challenge with this is, you can see it in this example. Now, if I modify the sentence to I love my club, now what happens here? There's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to, the final word, the club, isn't it? Because we don't know, it could be anything. The club could be say food club, attendance club. So what sort of club? So that ambiguity is kind of a challenge when it comes to this process. And if what actually will solve, the issue there is adding a context. Now, if you say, fitness, if you add fitness to the previous sentence, it's basically bringing a context to it and giving more clarity, for the tokenization to give you the exact meaning. Now, another popular method for encoding words is the use of word embeddings, wherein the use of words, the words are used as a high dimensional vectors. And similarly, we also have sentence encoding. Yeah, sentence encoding, wherein you can see that the words in the sentences are actually represented as a multidimensional vector here, which captures the meaning and the context easily. Now, this principle enables NLP platforms like Oracle Digital Assistant to use pre-trained models easily. Now, the models can interpret the sentiment and also understand the context. Now, say even if in the example, like I love my Labrador, say, even if Labrador is not specifically part of the pre-trained model's training data, because we're applying the principle of sentence encoding, it is capable of understanding the context and the sentiment easily. So that's basically the advantage of going with, the pre-trained model concepts in the NLP platforms. So another bigger or big factor that we have to always keep in mind when it comes to a digital assistance is a conversation design. Now, so this conversation design is the key factor which creates a seamless experience to the user when it tries to converse with a bot. Now, you'll be, if you look at a human conversation, what exactly do you think makes a conversation a great conversation? So we should have a, natural feel to it. It shouldn't be an intrusive sort of, communication from one side. It should also be having a flavor of collaborative conversation, wherein we are considerate of what the user is trying to tell to us, and maybe other factors could be it being personal and concise, and positive elements like acknowledging, reciprocating to the user's inputs in the right way, of course, and comprehension of the entire idea which has been passed on. So all these are primary factors, and conversation design in itself is a bigger topic, which we are aiming to come up with a separate webinar for this topic on itself. So, but I definitely wanted to stress on how important it is to design or dedicate ample time in the development life cycle for designing good conversation when it comes to developing an Oracle Digital Assistant or any digital assistant for that matter. So, if the factors or the reasons why it's important, why it is important is to be stressed to you in a different way. I think these examples are self-explanatory. So these are taken from some of the bots which are around. If you look at this particular bot's conversation, it's asking like, how may I help you today? And it started well, but with respect to the user input, basically it is not really taking the conversation to a meaningful conclusion, and the user end up being just frustrated and just wants to get out of the conversation or want to desperately try to connect to a human agent, isn't it? Now, there's another example wherein the bot just doesn't know what to where to take the user next to, and just keeps on repeating the same instruction again and again, frustrating the user again. And this is the height of it. This is where I was talking about, the importance of understanding the sentiment of the user comes into picture. And if you, tell to a user who is reporting a death of a relative or a close one, and the bot is insensitive to, acknowledge it in a very positive way, then that's like a bot going totally wrong there. So now, the basic concepts behind digital assistant development, and also you got a bit of understanding about what Oracle Digital Assistant is, I think it's a good time to switch into discussing more in depth about the building blocks. And once I make you familiar with the terminologies which comes as part of Oracle Digital Assistant as the building blocks, I'll next take you to the actual environment, and we'll get a look and feel and understand how exactly development is done. So as you can see in this block diagram, the building blocks primarily, you can call skills as the most important part of it. Now, skills with ODA, we can create individual chatbots too if you're focused on a specific task. So one skill is majorly going to take care of a specific task, like say an example we can say as if you want to check an account balance, or if you specifically want to create a skill to create an expense report. So a skill is taking care of end-to-end aspects of any task that you want to automate within it. And when it comes to digital assistant, we will be clubbing multiple skills together, and there is a very important characteristic or a feature of ODA, which is called the intelligent routing, wherein even if we have multiple skills clubbed together under one digital assistant, if at all the user's inputs are such that they are switching from one task to the other or one skill to the other, ODA will be very easily able to or intelligently understand and switch the context without losing the information or the data which has already been taken from the user until that point. So digital assistants, and then we have the concepts of within a skill we have what we refer to as intent, which is nothing but the categories of actions or tasks which the users expect your skill to perform for them. So we create intents. It can be multiple intents clubbed into one skill, which is primarily going to define and map all the actions which the user may want to take as part of that particular automated task or the skill. And we also have what we call as entity. So entities are variables that identify key pieces of information from user input, which enables the skill to fulfill the task. So we are going to see the real-time example. So I just want to bring bring your understanding to a level that you'll be able to identify what exact terminologies we are going to use or going to see. Now, both intents and entities are common natural language processing concepts. Now, NLP is basically science of extracting the intention of text and relevant information from text. So, both these concepts are quite widely used, even in ODA. And we also have what we refer to as components. So components are what provides a skill with various functions so that it can respond to a user's request. So these can be generic functions like, say, giving an output text or a message to the user, or the user can return information from a backend and perform custom logic functionalities. And we are also having the features of dialogue flows within ODA. Now, dialogue flows are nothing but defining for the skill how exactly to interact to a user. So that is where the conversation designing, sequencing can be actually applied and implemented to give a very, very seamless and a user-friendly experience to the user when it comes to a conversation. So based on different selections of the user from what we are providing to them. So for each selection, what exactly the next action should be, or the next message should be, or where it should be routing to. So all these can be visually developed within the ODA platform, which we'll take a look in a while. And we also have channels, different channels. Now, suppose, say, you want to integrate ODA into a specific messenger that your business is utilizing. Now, say Teams or say Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. So different channel integrations are very easily possible, and any channel you use, the performance of ODA and the digital assistant is not going to be affected. So that's another quite a useful feature of ODA. Now, at this point, we have become familiar with the terminology. So I think it's a good time to jump into taking a look in and see how exactly we do whatever we just spoke about. Now, this is the home page of the Oracle Digital Assistant. So basically how you access it is, in your OCI account, if you create an instance for Digital Assistant, the active instance can be accessed, giving the link in here. So right now I have logged into it already, and you can see the recent skills and the digital assistants which we have created are all listed in here. So to give you a feel of the platform, you can see that we have the development environment split into different categories. So skill development, digital assistant development, the channels are all separated out here. And we also have the store. So if at all you want to make use of any existing or published bots or published digital assistants or skills, then it is very easy to pull in that particular skill or the digital assistant to your environment and then customize it to match it to your requirement that you're working on. So this is about the environment. Now, taking a quick look, I need to just minimize this to. Here we go. So this is a skill that I want to just talk about, which is already created in here. Now, if you have to create a new skill, I can show you. If you go to skills, a skill can be created in 3 ways. So either you can create it from scratch by clicking on new skill, you give all the details in here, you'll be able to even select the platform version. So we have different platform releases that has happened, the latest being 23.10, which has been released in November. And, the language selections can be multiple. So the primarily preferred languages, English. And so Oracle Digital Assistant basically supports native supported languages and also translation service. Now, we have almost 8 languages under native support. And if at all you want to create digital assistant or a skill which is based out of a language which is not natively supported, then you can always go for the translation service, wherein almost 194 languages are supported. If you look at the options, you might even wonder we have so many languages around. So it's quite interesting, to see how far or all these multiple language support that ODA is providing. And you also have the dialogue mode options. I initially mentioned about dialogue flows. So dialogue flows can either be developed visually, which is more more like an intuitive platform wherein you can pull in the options and integrate them, or the routing is actually visually dealt with. And if you want to do it more programmatically, if you're comfortable with markup languages, and YAML is your option in here. So when you have to create a skill, we basically give the display name and the official identifier for the skill. And you can also select the skill version. Now, if you have, you created a skill and you want to add more iterations to it, this is where you make the changes. And you have to give the 1-line description mandatorily if you want to publish the skill as well. So, and you just click on create, and it will actually, that is all you need to do to create a new skill. So at this point, I also wanted to show you that we have option to import skill. So now suppose say you have already exported a skill, which, you're taken from a different cloud instance, for example, you'll be able to quickly route to that path and import that skill into your instance and customize it further. So these are 2 options. For interest of time, I thought it would be easier if we can, I can take you through a skill which is already generated in here. I'm going back to the skill menu here. So very simple example. Just give it a time to load. And a simple example, which I thought I'll discuss today, is the greetings. So I created an example or sample skill which deals with, greeting the user and also bidding goodbye. So it's taking time to load. There you go. So the greeting skill that we have created in here, you can see that it has two intents mapped to it. Now, a skill, as I told you, is like one task. Now, any sort of greetings. The greetings can be even, addressing when the user comes in, and also having a neat exit when the user has completed the task. So I kind of thought that could be one good example that everybody can relate to easily. And when I spoke about intents earlier, we saw that they are basically the actions within the skill that you have to specifically take care of. So we have created two intents here, goodbyes and the greetings one. And if you select the greetings in the beginning, you can see how easily you can set it up or map it. So you just give the greeting names in here, and this is a regular intent, so that's why the prefix reg, and you give the description to understand what exactly it is doing. And here comes the most important part of an intent creation, which is also very crucial for your model training when it comes to ODA. So utterances. Now, utterances is the keyword that you definitely have to remember when it comes to ODA development. So, wherein what we do is we basically feed in all the kind of different ways in which the user could interact with the digital assistant. So it need not be exhaustive, but it just needs to feed in enough data which will help the model to identify what sort of request is coming from the user to route to the respective skill and the intent to take the actions accordingly. So that's what we are doing. So basically for the greetings intent, I have fed in almost 22 utterances here. So it is like different formats in which a user could be greeting the bot, right? So it is hello, I need a help, hi, I have a question. Could also be namaste. It's basically trying to add in as many as possible. Now here, the recommended minimum number of utterances that you should be feeding in is 12 to 13. But for the bot to be functional, even two utterances are enough. But intent-wise, definitely we should be, looking for creating at least two intents within a skill for it to perform as expected. Now we also have other options here like annotations, wherein you can do the tagging, and if at all you want to help the user to autocomplete their request, we have the autocomplete suggestions that you could add in here. So that's about how you add utterances to an intent. The similar way I have added utterances to the goodbye intent in here. You can see that the good night, great help, great support. So these are all like different ways in which I'm telling the model that it has to train itself to understand that, okay, this is a goodbye action that we are going to take. And at this point, it's good to tell you that if at all I add any new greetings or any new utterance under greetings, suppose, or any intent, like say, hola. So I added a new utterance to it. So immediately you can see a change reflecting in the train option in here. So it is saying that it identified that a change has been applied to the intent, and it is quickly telling the developer that a training will be required on top of this particular skill for it to even understand, the new user which has been input. Now, when you come to training the model, so this is where we train the intent with the help of the NLP, the pre-trained NLP models, which are functioning behind. And you can see the two options, the trainer HT and trainer TM. So, whenever you start with a skill training, we, because the number of utterances will be minimal, we normally opt to use the trainer HT option. And once we have come to a stage where we we have a refined model and we are, almost nearing the production deployment, say when we have actually fed in a lot of utterances and trained it, refined it iteratively. At that point, you could use a trainer TM, which is a machine learning based model for training purposes. Now, training, how do you do it? You just select the model and submit it, and in just a few minutes, it will be completing its training. And as soon as the training is completed, you are in a state wherein you'll be able to test your skill. So it is as quick as that. So you create a skill, create the intents, add utterances, train it, and there you go. You are ready to test it out. Now, at this point, in here for this particular utterance testing, which is being applied on top of the greetings intent, let me say like, hello, I need help urgently. Let's see if the skill is able to identify the correct intent and how much is the confidence percentage. So all this information you'll be able to easily understand here. So you can see that, for this test utterance I have jotted in, the confidence threshold is 0.4, and there's no entities detected. I'll just walk you through what an entity is in a while. And you can see that, out of both the intents that we have in here, the greetings intent is correctly identified, and 100% confidence is also associated to it. So this is, an easy way, to test your intents to see. Now, suppose say you see any sort of deviation in the identification of the intent. So at that time, you will understand that you need to feed the model with, corresponding or more meaningful utterances so that the identification happens correctly. So you will be able to act accordingly based on your testings. Now, I mentioned about entities. Now, if you look at greetings intent here, you can see all the mapped entities in the top right corner. So we have address, location, date, time entities, which are already mapped. So two types of entities, basically, when it comes to artificial assistant, which is one is a built-in one and the other is a custom entities. For ease of understanding here, what I have pulled in are all three are built-in entities. So what entities does is that from the user's input, if at all you want to extract some specific information based on which any of the further actions are to be followed. So that becomes crucial in a design's perspective, that you ask the right question, or even if say you don't ask a question and the user's input in itself has given you that information already, the digital assistant should be capable to immediately store that information in the correct variable or the parameters so that it can be used, rather than troubling the user or the customer asking about it at a later point in time to avoid repetition. So here, as you can see, I have the address entity, which is mapped. It's a simple mapping when it comes to the built-in entities. So you can see that any description, say the user input has mention about the city, house number, road. So automatically it will be routed to or picked up by the address entity, and it will be stored in there for further use. Okay, let me go back in there and take you to the date time entity as well. So daytime entity has different layers and it has different subtypes wherein we could specifically gather only the date information, or so the default date format can be also set in. And if at all the user is able to mention any of the date or any of the time within it, then this is the entity which is going to store that information. So likewise, we have multiple built-in entities, like you can see address, currency, email, location. So these are all like important inputs from user that we can store. Now, if I go back to our skill, and let me show you how exactly we can test it out to see how the entity detection is happening. So I need help by, say, 12 p.m. Now I specified a time in here, isn't it? So you can see how the detection has been modified now. And you can see the date time entity is exactly picking up the information from the user's input, and it is being mapped to that particular built-in entity. And the confidence and the intent detection has been also been the right way. So this is a quick understanding about how the model can be trained. And if you go further, would like to show you the flows. This is what we call as the dialogue flows. And if you look at this particular flow, this is a visual dialogue flow development that you are able to see in here. Now we can have multiple states, as we call it in ODA, which we can define, and how exactly the sequence should be, what should be the initial messaging to the user, how exactly that should go to the user. Like, for example, if when I clicked on the very first state in here, you can see that I was able to define it as hi, and dynamically pick up the user's name in here, the login information from the login information. So if I am testing it, it will actually display my email ID, which is a username for my instance. So it will address me and then introduce itself, and it will set the context. And if you go to the next one, next state in the flow that we have defined here, you can see that it's a cards menu. So in this cards menu, what I have done here is we are listing different menu items in here. So if at all you want to give the user an option or a list of options to choose from, so you'll be able to display it in a cards format, which the user can just go and click, and then further the next step can be proceeded with. So cards menu, common response, and then if you want to determine what action you want to further perform based on the previous selections. So there are a lot of ways in which you can actually go about doing this. Now, if you want to take a quick preview. Now, preview is the holistic testing option that you have for testing your entire skill, or if at all you have a digital assistant with multiple skills within it, even for that, if you go to preview option, you'll be able to test it all together and see how exactly the switching, the routing, and the user messaging all happen. So now in here, if I say I just give a simple hi, let's see how exactly it is going to address me back. Now you can see that, hi, I'm Lee, I'm Roy, your digital assistant. I'm here to help you. So Roy is just the name of the digital assistant. And it has given me an option to choose from. So this is a cards menu that we had defined. And you'll be able to exactly, give the option to the user to route it to whatever, in your business context, what is important. You'll be able to make the user select and go to that. Now, FAQ option, choose FAQ. Now, so basically it's all about, understanding your use case and then designing your conversation and, developing or bringing it to your dialogue flow accordingly, so that you will be able to give the user exactly what is being expected, and any sort of unexpected response, if you're strategically dealing with it, you'll be even able to route it to a live agent at the end of it. If at all the bot identifies that it is not having the sufficient information to take the user to complete the task intended. So all this is very easily possible, and you can see that when you're testing this, the conversation, how exactly the flows, the switches happen, everything is quite, easily understandable in this development environment. So in the interest of time, let me just take you back to the next, to give you a summary of the entire development of flow that we have. So we saw that how we had created a skill, how we can create a skill. And, the next step from the creation of skill would be mapping or intents, as many as required, minimum 2. You train the skill, feeding after you feed in all the relevant utterances. And at that point in time, you are also good to create entities. Now, entities, will store all the meaningful information. And after you also entity is also going to give the skill more context to be efficiently able to complete the user request. So that's another importance of it. And then you go about creating the dialogue flows, which will define and describe how the skill should react when respective intents are invoked and resolved. And at this point, you should be able to preview the skill and test it out. And once the skill is tested and ready, you can publish it and route it to a channel. It could be any of your web applications. We recently did, even an Apex application, which worked quite smoothly. Same way, you can have any messenger platforms, Teams, WhatsApp, or there are multiple messenger platforms that, channel options that you can route the ODA into. And I would like to also show you, just a second, a quick view of the channel options. And also, let me just come out of it. Yeah, there you go. So if you come back to our development platform, you can see the channel options, what are available in here. If you say you're going to add a channel, after you create and test and define your skill or the digital assistant. So all these options are available in recent with the latest release. Even Apple Messages for Business, another channel that has been added to the list. And once you do all the testing and the skill or digital assistant is published, if you want to understand or run analytics or understand how exactly the performance of it is, you have a very good analytics view here, which gives you all the metrics that is important in a development aspect, to also understand how the users responses have been, or which intents have been most utilized, which has been underutilized, so that you could probably go back to the underutilized skills or intents to see if any more training is required. So all these analytics you will be easily able to understand from this very option. And I spoke about the multiple skills being used within a digital assistant. So this is an example of a digital assistant wherein we have clubbed together two different skills. Now this is the final demo, which I would like to show you, a real life example or a use case which you could have a look at. So hello, I'm just going to address the particular digital assistant in here. So because we have two skills which are mapped in, the bot is actually showing me both the options and welcoming me and asking me to choose whichever option I want to go with. Now, say I need not actually give the skill, or you can actually rename these options as not referring to skill or the technical terminologies, but the user could be just understanding, say, order pizza. So I clicked on order pizza, and you can see that the different pizza options with an image as well to help the user choose from is given in here. Say I choose the cheese lover option. How intuitively it is going to the next meaningful question. I choose medium in here, and the next option is the toppings option. So let's say I give number 4 as the toppings I want. Where exactly it needs to be delivered? Say I need it to be delivered to the office. And because it is kind of confirming the order in acknowledging what option we have chosen. Now, this particular bot has both wine and pizza selection. Now, at this particular point, say, it could be any user input, which even is not trained with, but the model will be able to identify it in any rephrased manner. So I also would need wine to be ordered. If I click on that, let's see if it routes to the right one. So do you want to go to specifically asking in here which option I need to go to? And I can hardly pronounce or read out correctly all these options in here. I'm just going to go with this one. And so it's basically routing to the next relevant option. So this is, an example of the intelligent routing, which I earlier mentioned about, which is quite easy and intuitive in here. So this is nothing but the model training process, which I already took you through. I mentioned about what is the initial training model that you have to go for and how exactly the switching should happen, at what point. We already covered that. We also saw some of the main features, like, say, the insights or the skill store. I took you through the intelligent routing. So some of the other options which we didn't really touch upon, which is out of scope for today's session, which we definitely will be coming back with more webinars wherein we'll be talking more deeply into those areas. So just primarily to highlight backend integrations, FAQ integration. That's another very easily deployable solution that you can go for which development time is minimal. If you have, say, a lot of energy or task or efforts being routed to customer service agents who have to keep on, deal with the routine questions from users, multiple users. So there's easy way to have a chatbot created or digital assistant created for routing all those, question answer or the frequently asked questions into a bot format. So also you have SQL dialogue skills, wherein you'll be able to talk to your database directly and generate or derive your answers based out of generated SQLs from the user input. So a lot of things are possible. Now, cost analysis wise, if you look at the return of investment, if you're going with the Oracle Digital Assistant option, now this is, the data is based out of a cost analysis on Oracle Digital Assistant, specifically by Forrester in 2022. And it gives you a good understanding of what you're looking at. In a 3-year cost benefit aspect, if you look at the return of investment is 181%, which is huge. And, benefits with respect to present value itself is 6.73 million. And the net present value, which is nothing but a financial metric, basically, which seeks to capture the total value of an investment opportunity, it is 4.34 million. So we're talking about a payback of all your investment within a minimum of less than 6 months, and then whatever you gain is your profit if you're going to integrate ODA into your use cases. So I think we just 3 minutes to 1 hour because we started 6 minutes late. I think we can pause here for seeing, to take any question that you may have. I hope you're able to understand, what a digital assistant is capable of. At least you got familiar with, development environment and how easy and low code the development platform is. And there's a lot more to cover. So let me just take a quick look at if you have any questions. How to integrate this with Oracle Apex. So I think because we don't have time to exactly cover that in detail, but I have just the right thing for you. If you go to the Rittman Mead blog, we actually have a blog dedicatedly written by one of our consultants, Peter, who has a blog written on the same topic, Richard. So you'll be able to get the detailed steps to understand how to integrate ODA with Oracle Apex. So I think that would help. Thank you, John, for confirming. Happy to know that you found the session as informative. And we also have, the ODA specific topics covered in a blog series. If you go to our website, the blog, Rittman Mead blogs, you'll be able to see different specific topics being covered. We already have 2 blogs in there and more to follow. And the next live webinars, which are going to come up, it's in the very next one is in January 25. I also have the link if you want to register today itself, so that you don't miss the continuity of the topics that we'll be taking from, after this introductory session. Let me just go back to give you the link. Or Kaya, if you have the link, can you please post it so that our participants would be able to use it right away. So this was a quick attempt to take you through a big ocean of a topic that Oracle Digital Assistant is. I hope the concepts that intrigue you, and if at all you have any use cases. Actually, the poll which went in the beginning wanted to understand, if there are any particular use cases that you have in mind, wherein you think a possibility of getting digital assistant play its role to give you the cost benefits that we also saw as possible. So we'll take a look, and if you have any support that you require with respect to understanding better, please reach out to us. We are definitely happy to help you in your journey.